What's good, bro? Potato chips. October 17th, 2025. I took one trade today, made $1,000 on 5 XFAs on Top Step and about $970 across 6 different accounts on TradingView, which is going to include a Lucid account and 5 Tradify accounts. Okay, so coming into this morning, neutral bias as of right now. We are currently inside of a 4-hour bearish gap with Asia highs SMT and just tapped EQ of the range. However, if we end up inversing the 4-hour gap, I can see us going towards Asia highs, even with the SMT and possibly even the unfilled 4-hour fair value gap above, which is this line right here. Okay, so this is what the 4-hour chart looked like when I was coming in. Here is the inversion. This was my condition coming into this morning. If we respected it, can see it continue lower towards London lows, and if we disrespected it, I can assume we are going to come up here, right? Dropping down to the hourly, this is what the hourly chart looked like. I would want to see some form of manipulation lower, taking out this fair value gap that's unfilled on the hourly, and then we can continue higher. And then this is what the 15-minute looked like. We had equal lows right here, so I wanted to see a soup of those lows, and then we can go higher. All right, so jumping into this morning, we actually had a beautiful short almost play out. We fucking edged it. Here's the black line. So we had these equal lows right here that were also the entry point to a unfilled 15-minute gap, and they were also inside of this bullish hourly gap as well, right? Clear market maker buy model, right? I don't have the thing that goes whoop whoop, but we can use this, right? All right, so we're clearly in a buy model right now. So I was leaning a little bit more bearish at market open, but then once I realized this hourly gap got respected and we're continuing higher, I then flipped my bias to bullish. So from here, what ended up happening? Well, let's go over this short real quick. Ended up playing out. So what do we have on ES? This blue line again is Asia highs. Well, we took out Asia highs pre-market, okay, on ES, which means we have an Asia high SMT. From there, we have pre-market highs, okay, right here. Where's the pre-market highs? Also, right here. Okay. Now, we end up sweeping those out on both assets. This SMT is still holding. All right. And then what ends up happening? We end up getting a inversion on the 1 minute time frame. There was no other inversions on any other time frame. This was the only one right here. I would have went ahead and entered. However, I didn't realize this was a 64-point candle, so I ended up setting by the time I got over to MNQ and risked 5 micros, price ended up shitting the bed. I did set a limit order at that version. I was hoping to get tapped in, and then I was targeting these equal lows right here. Again, that was also the entry point to an unfilled 15-minute gap that was inside of an hourly bearish gap. So great draw. This was my break-even point right here. Would have been my breaking point. Again, I didn't enter this trade. I would have if I realized this candle was, because this was just way too much risk, right? 60 points, risking 1 mini. That's about $1,200. That's just way too much risk for one trade. So yeah, I was waiting to get tapped in. It hit my break even, so I deleted my limit order. And then we ended up edging the shit out of these equal lows, which just baffled me, because typically ES will do that, and it's pretty normal on ES, but NASDAQ will, I would say 95% of the time, 90% of the time, we come down and we'll take out that draw and then continue higher. So this happened to be that 1 or that 10% of the time. We ended up just fucking essentially reversing off of nothing. And then what ends up happening? Well, I didn't see really any entry here because I didn't want these equal lows along with this relatively equal low at my stop loss. So I was like, okay, we came and took out Asia highs. Let's see how we displace through it. What is getting created? Okay, so I was like, okay, we have a 5-minute fair value gap right here. What else is going to get created? Well, we have another 5-minute fair value gap as well right here. So what is this looking like? We have a double 5-minute gap. If I am bearish, I would like to see both of these get ran through, and I wouldn't mind taking shorts in this scenario just because the fact that we tapped into this unfilled 4-hour gap, and then we also hit a unfilled 5-minute gap right here, all the way over here to the left. Okay, we also had another unfilled 5-minute right here, which that is going to be in play in a second, and I'll show you why. So at this point in time, we hit both of those gaps and we retrace into what? Well, we retrace into these 5-minute bullish gaps again. Okay, and along with being in just a market maker buy model, whoop, whoop, right? V-shaped recovery on the higher time frames. What am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for this bullish gap on the 5-minute to get respected, and then we can go ahead and target what? You can target PM highs from yesterday. Okay, if you guys don't believe me, let me bring out this. See, New York PM high. Okay, that was from yesterday. So these were my conditions. If both of these got ran through, I would most likely wait for like a 5-minute bearish gap to open up, wait for a retap into there, and then take shorts down to here. So there was like going to be a lot of things to happen if I wanted to take shorts. However, if I am bullish, which I was in this sense right here, I would just want to see a tap into this gap and then a rejection out of it. So what ended up happening? Well, we ended up coming down, tapping into it. We create a 2-minute fair value gap, inversing the fair value gap. I limo order at the fair value gap. Here is my executions on I can't show you guys, but here is I'll show you guys my executions in a second. Here's the same thing on MNQ. Break even point was these internal highs right here. Let me get rid of this. Break even point was these internal highs. We got edge of it, came into our stop loss just a little bit, right? And then what ends up happening? We end up ripping up towards the New York PM highs. And here's what it looked like on NQ. Tapped them perfectly, and then we reversed. Okay. Again, this unfilled 5-minute right here, I wanted to see it get flushed through. If we truly were bullish, if this ended up getting respected, it was most likely just going to chop for the rest of the day. So that's why I had that line drawn out. And yeah, essentially that was it all for today. I was pretty neutral coming into this morning. At market open, I was bearish, and then I flipped bullish as soon as bullish PD rays started getting respected again. Okay, so that is why you set conditions. If you guys need help on conditions, let me know. I will drop a video on that. I think Monday it'll come out. I have a lot of YouTube videos on my sleeve right now, so it's looking pretty good. All right, hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go check it out. Lucid Trading, if you guys want to get more allocation, go check out Lucid Trading. Code LoeGpa, 35% off, no activation fee. All right, love y'all boys, and I'll catch you.